it's time for Ghost and Crendor!
Ghost and Crendor in the morning.
In the morning! Broadcasting live! In 4-hour recording studio audience. Recording! Wake your ass up! It's the Crendor in the morning! Hello there, everybody! Welcome back to Cox and Crendor in the morning. Hey! Alright, here's the deal. If I were you, I'd skip ahead. If you don't want to get spoiled, maybe 15 minutes. I imagine that's how long we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So if you haven't seen the first one, brief synopsis.
Oh my god. Alright, so yeah, in the first one, this guy at the beginning of the first one is riding a cart up into a light, and he doesn't know what it is, and he's freaking out. And when he ends up through the light, he is in a field in this glen with a bunch of other boys. And apparently, they all live there and have been sent there for some mysterious reason, and they don't know.
Yeah.
Outside this glen is a maze that keeps shifting and changing every night. And so these boys have developed a society where there's some people who are farmers and some people who are like the big tough guys, and then there's some people who are maze runners, and their job is to map the maze, right?
Yeah.
So this guy wants to be a maze runner because he's, of course, immediately like, what's out there, man? What's happening? And what they discover is that the maze has been entirely mapped out, but that the maze runners and the leadership of these boys are scared to tell them that basically there's no way out. There's nothing they can do. There are freaking monsters in the maze that will kill and eat them, and they're screwed. And that's when a girl pops up, and it's like, this is the last person we'll ever send. And the main character recognizes this girl. I don't remember the main character's name to say. Tom? What's the main character's name?
Oh, it's is it Thomas? Thomas.
Yeah. So this girl pops up, and I don't remember her name either. The only character's name I remember is Mio, because he's the best.
Yeah.
He's a badass Asian dude, and I love him.
Yeah.
But so, what am I missing here? So the girl pops up, and she is like, Tom, you and I were sent here because, like, you shit went down, and, we need to get out of here. And basically, one night, the maze doesn't close and is just open, so the monsters attack and, destroy the camp, and so their only hope is to leave. And so they go into the maze together, they fight off the monsters, and they discover that there's this, special access point that leads to a giant facility, and all this has been a massive test.
Yeah.
And the world has apparently ended, and it's freaking bonkers. These kids have some serum inside their bodies, and that it can save the world, and they're testing them for some freaking reason. It makes no sense.
And the lady's like, this is all the things that are happening. Then she shoots herself.
She doesn't
shoot herself.
Yeah, what happens then after that, then it shows her still alive, and she's like, good. Now let's move on to the next phase of testing. And you're like, what are you talking about? That's how the movie ends.
Yeah.
It was all a test the entire time. So Part 2 starts, and I'll let Crendor try to explain Part 2 to you, because it's so hard to explain these movies. Crendor, if you would do the honors.
So, this one wasn't as, plot twisty, but it was still insane. Okay, so, there's all the kids, they just get out of there, and as soon as they get out, all these people come raid them, and they're like, come with us, blah, blah, blah. They're these military dudes, and they take the kids, and they take them a helicopter, and they fly them to some secret military base, and they're like, get in! And they're like, why do we gotta go in there? And then zombies start attacking.
Freaking zombies out of nowhere. This is, for the record, Maze Runner Scorch Trials is basically a zombie movie. Let's be very clear.
It's, oh my god, this movie, I don't know what to categorize it as. It's changed categories.
Yes, it went from a weird, it's these books have nothing to do with each other plot-wise. I need to read the books to figure out what's the difference between the books and the movies. Because so far, Scorch Trials is a zombie chase movie. Maze Runner was what are we doing in this
sci-fi,
maze? There's these crazy
psychological
monsters
thriller.
and shit. Yeah, and then this is no, everyone's a zombie now. What? What is happening?
And so they take him into here, and then there's Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. He's the guy who's welcome to our place. And they're like, okay. And he's like, don't worry, this is a refuge for you and a safe haven. And you're gonna be fine here. And he's like, Thomas, you gotta trust me, Thomas. And he's like, why should I trust you? And he's like, why wouldn't you trust me? And he's like,
We're on the same, yeah. He's like, we're on the same team, and when we're all done here, we'll take you to the safe haven. That's the place for all the kids just like you.
Yeah. So like, Teresa's her name.
Yeah,
the girl name.
Teresa and Tom. Yeah.
So he's like, where are you taking Teresa? And he's like, don't worry about that. And she's just like, and she's like, I just got to go, Thomas. And then
she's covered in like wires. Like every time they see her, she is just constantly being led around by guys with like tubes sticking out of her and crap. And he's like, what the shit?
And then the one time they're like in a big like cafeteria for a lunchroom. It's pretty much like a little school. They got like a big cafeteria and then like their little dorm room things for all the kids. And that's where they stay. And so they're in the cafeteria, and then he sees her being like taken with all the tubes and shit in her, and he's like, I'm gonna go find out, which I'm like, they're not gonna let you in, idiot. And so he walks up, and then they're like, where do you think you're going? He's like, I'm going where I want. And they're like, no, you're not. And he's like, oh, okay.
It's pretty accurate. But in that room where all the kids are, that's where they meet two new characters, I believe.
Yeah.
One is I don't remember his name. We'll just say
there's like a
Indian dude, and black dude.
Indian dude and black dude, and then like weird kid that's sitting by himself.
Weird hoodie kid who sits by himself, and they're like, yeah, he was in like apparently all these kids were from Mazes too.
Yeah.
And so they're all like our main characters. And then the kid with the hoodie, they're like, yeah, man, he was in a maze with all girls. Some dudes have all the luck.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like the squirreliest looking, like, I don't know why. Of course, that's the guy.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, but he's been here the longest, like a week and a half or something. And they're like, oh, shit, dude, all right. And so later on, they're in their like dorm thing, and that kid, squirrely hooded kid, just pops out of the air vent. And he's just like, come with me. And you're just like, what? And so,
of course, Tom does. Tom's like, all right, sure.
Like, all right, I'll follow you. So he follows them into the air vent, and he takes them to where they're taking all the kids. Because, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Every, like, day, they pick, like, 7 kids, and they're like, we're going to take you to the safe haven. Which, you know,
we can
already...
only take a few at a time.
Already, I'm like, that is very
such
suspicious.
Bullshit. Like, such bullshit, yeah. Like, really, why can you only take a few kids at a time to the safe haven?
It just reminds me of the Simpsons, like, Halloween episode the one time where they would, like, take the kids, and they'd, like, kill them and make them into Sloppy Joes.
Yeah, it's like all those short horror stories, like the lottery. Like they've won the lottery and now they can go to the better place.
Yeah.
And the better place is like they're just killed.
Yeah. So he sees them getting taken into this place, and they're like, oh shit. But they can't get into it. They just see they're like taking the kids into this room, and he's like, we gotta get in that room.
The room is sealed off, but the kids are like in essentially futuristic coffins with all their vitals on the top, but they've clearly been knocked out. All the kids that are chosen are knocked out and then taken into a private room. And they're like, what is going on in there, bro?
Yeah. So he's like, all right, we gotta get in there. And then he's like, I saw some crazy shit. And they're like, no way, Thomas. And then he's like, I'm gonna get in there. And he tries to get in past the guards again. They're like, where do you think you're going? And then Littlefinger's like, Thomas, I thought we were friends. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, Thomas, that was dumb. And he's like, but I got the card key. And it's like, da-da-da-da.
It's pretty great. He's like, yeah, but I stole their card key. Yeah.
So later that night, he goes with the hoodie kid again. And they use the card key. And they get in the room. And they're just like all hung up like alien-like style. Where they're
the first part of the room is all the monsters from the maze are like in embryo form. So because this guy's like, we're not part of Wicked, I want to remind everyone the evil organization in this franchise is called Wicked.
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone. He's like, we're not part of them. Littlefinger's like, no, we're the good guys, Thomas. Trust me. And then when you go in this room, of course, they are absolutely 100% bad guys.
Yeah.
So they have all the monsters. And then when he enters the other part of the room, all the kids are hung up and being like drained of their goo that cures the disease.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which I don't get. I don't get how they have, like, what's special about them?
Here's the problem. Later on, the movie negates the fact that these kids needed to be drained anyway.
Yeah.
Because the bad guys are like, we just need to drain them of their essence so that we can save people. But later on, they're just like, give us your blood and inject it in this person.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, why couldn't you do that anyway?
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. But so then, of course, Littlefinger walks in, and apparently the one giant view screen is also in this room.
Yeah,
so
of course.
He walks in, and he's like, screen on, and then it's the lady from the first one who's like, my time schedule it needs to be moved up. I want all of them turned into goo now. And he's like, but I'm going as fast as I can. She's like, no, not fast. I'll be there in 3 days or whatever. Like 3 hours or whatever she says.
And he's just like, shit. So then Thomas
he's
is
like, I'm going to go get those kids, those rascals from the first movie first because reasons.
Yeah, and then Thomas is like, shit, dude. They just start like running back. They're like, come on. And so all the guys are like, what are you talking about? And then they barricade the door and they just get out of there. And they're just like, oh shit. And then it becomes like an insane like escape movie.
Like basically it's a 20-minute chase of them in the building. They take a nurse hostage. They go to get Teresa, and Teresa is like laying in a hospital bed fine. And they're like, what's going on? She's like, huh? What are you doing, Thomas? They get like stun guns and start shooting people. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. These kids who have no weapons training are just acing. There's a scene where Thomas has his gun pointed at Littlefinger and like 4 dudes with shields and shit. And they open a door behind them and they start to like all run out the back door. And the door starts to close. Thomas chucks his gun at them and starts to run like hardcore. Meanwhile, all these soldiers do not fire one shot. They don't even attempt to stop this kid. He's just like, get him! And they all run after him like, grr! And Thomas does an Indiana Jones slide under the closing door and makes it out. And then Littlefinger's like, you're crazy. And they end up now out in the Scorch, which is basically the end times desert of doom. And that's, I guess, where the movie's supposed to start. But really, about 45 minutes of actual screen time has already been used up with this introduction. Yeah, which is just like craziness. They have the stormtrooper treatment. They just can't shoot them. Yeah, the soldiers are the worst. The worst soldiers. How they've managed to survive this zombie apocalypse, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. Yeah. So they go out, and it's just the desert and shit, and they're like, all right, where are we going to go? And it's like the sandstorm they escaped. Like, get in here. Because, like, now they're all out, like, looking for them. So they're like, let's go in this weird buried chamber thing. So, like, they go in it. I think it's supposed to be like a subway station or a train station or something, but it's underground, and it's a makeshift shelter, and clearly people have lived there in the past. There's like a dead dude sitting on a sofa or like a love seat, and there's clothes. And so, of course, now they're all changing out of their clothes. And, you know, the black dude, for some reason, when he sees Teresa change, he's like, yeah. And then the little skinny kid from the first movie's like, hey, bro, don't do that. I noticed that. I was like, wait, what? And so they all start to explore this underground subway thing. And they discover that there's power cords leading to some sort of fuse box or generator or something. Yeah. And they go over to it to turn on the power. But of course, as they're exploring, they realize, like, don't turn on the power! And of course, right then they turn on the power. And all of a sudden it's like, and this girl like pops up like, there apparently were thousands of zombies down here that did not do shit until they turned on the power. Like, I don't know. Once the power's on, it is a chase to get out of there. And so they're just like, running. And these aren't like crazy. Your typical like Walking Dead zombies. These are like War Z, like these zombies run like 800 miles an hour zombies. And they're also like weird infected. They're like kind of like the zombies in Last of Us. Yeah. Where they're not zombies, but they're like infected with some crazy shit. Yeah. And so they are chasing them down. There's weird crap coming out of their face and mouth and stuff. And they have no eyes. And they're just nuts. They're crazy. And they're chasing after them. And of course, Indian Kid gets caught in a door. This is something I'll never understand. The monsters have his leg, right? Yeah. They manage to save him. But then you discover there's multiple bites on his leg. Like, wait, what? Were they just gnawing at his leg while one had his leg, was holding onto his leg? And multiple other ones were biting him? No, wait, he got like slashed across the gut, didn't he? The gut. He got slashed in the gut. Yeah, he got slashed in the gut. So as they're trying to escape, he gets like slashed in the gut and becomes ultra infected. So Indian guy basically has like ultra zombie disease now. Yeah. And he's hurt, and they try to run through the desert and get away from this place. They have a water and stuff. They have a gun, like a pistol. And they only make it so far because their plan is to go to the mountains. Apparently what they heard, we forgot to mention this. Oh, yeah. During this discussion between the doctor and Littlefinger, there's a group of rebels in the mountains, I guess.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to make it to the mountains because that's where they need to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Indian kid, like, is just turning into a zombie, and he's like, somebody kill me, please. And so they leave him the pistol, and he shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
Why'd they leave him their one gun? Whatever.
I don't know either.
So then they manage to make it almost to the mountains, but right as they make it to the mountains, a giant, massive, like, lightning storm of death appears.
Yeah. No rain.
And then the kids...
No anything, just lightning.
The kids outrun a lightning storm.
Yeah.
They're running as fast. They're running and running and running, outrunning a lightning storm. Like, shit is going down. It is crazy. And they manage to find lights in an old factory or something like that. And when they get there, this like sassy girl shows up. Well, first off, when they get there, they close the door because Mio gets struck by lightning, and so they save his ass. And he's like, "No, I'm good, bro. I just got struck by lightning."
Yeah.
And because he's a badass, Mio's the best.
Yeah.
And they enter this factory, and in the factory is more of the zombies, but they're all tied up. And a sassy girl shows up, and she's like, "Hey, if you want to get through these, just follow me." They're like, "Okay." So they follow her, and now they're in what appears to be like Barter Town from Mad Max.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of dudes around, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, no, we're looking for these people who live in the mountains, maybe a little help." And she's like, "Well, I can take you to some guy," and she takes him upstairs, and they meet basically the Los Pollos Hermanos dude, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, and he's like, "Hey, hermano, welcome to my little kingdom, and I'm gonna, I could tell you about the people who live in the mountains, but instead, I'm gonna tie you up, like hang you upside down, hermano."
Yeah.
And you learn that he and this girl, who may or may not be his daughter, but it's like he takes care of her.
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't know if they run this mini town fort.
It seems like they're in charge of it, yet they don't have like a system that says he's in charge.
Yeah, because they're just random dudes that are like, "I'm gonna kill these kids." So if he was in charge of it, they probably I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. So of course their plan is to sell them back to Wicked, and Gus Frang, I don't remember his name. Gus, we'll call him Gussie.
Yeah.
So Gus and this girl, they end up realizing that they totally goofed and try to save these kids. As Wicked shows up and proceeds to murder Jose. Was that his
like
name?
Jose or something, yeah.
We'll call him Jose. So Jose, my apologies if that's not his name. So Jose and this girl, who we'll call Josetta, I don't know her name either. I wish I knew these characters' names. Short-haired girl.
Yeah, short-haired girl.
Short-haired girl. And they basically managed to change their mind right when Wicked shows up, because apparently Jose wants to go to the mountain camp as well. And Wicked shows up, starts shooting everybody, and Jose blows up the entire compound
with a record
kills
player.
Like everybody. Yeah, with a record player. He uses a record player. If you're lost right now, you should be. You should be lost.
You should be lost.
He blows up the building with a record player, and they manage to escape, but short-haired girl and Thomas have to take a different way out.
Yeah.
And so they end up in the sewer. And in the sewer, that's when you discover this is where all the zombies live, in the sewers beneath the old scorched earth. And the zombies are basically in their final form like that dude on the ship in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, they basically become plants and like hang out on the walls.
Yeah.
But when people come nearby, they're like pop out of the walls.
Yeah.
So they chase them down, and they manage to run up to out of the sewers into an old building, up into like the top of a skyscraper as zombies are chasing them and shit's falling, and short-haired girl gets bit by a zombie in some way that I could not tell you.
Yeah.
A zombie attacks her, and she manages to fight him off. His mouth is near her face, but she has a bite mark on her leg.
Yeah.
I could not tell you how that happened. I don't know. So apparently she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm just going to cover it up with a bandage. I'll be good." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so they escape this area, and now they're in a city. Don't know where this city came from. don't know why there's a city here, but somehow they're in a city.
And they're looking
just
for like Mario or someone.
Yeah, they're looking for a dude who is going to be the one that Jose was like, yeah, he's the one who knows how to get there, so talk to him. And so their assumption is we'll just meet up with everyone else there. Well, when they get there, it's the guy who played Alan Tudyk. Is that his name? It's the guy, like, he's great. He was in Firefly, and he was King Candy, all that stuff. So he shows up, and he's like a drug-dealing, drunk party man who has like a crazy festival where people just get wasted on some crazy drink, and it's in the middle, like there's a club in the middle of a town, like an end of the world club. So there are apparently towns in the wasteland, which is just sort of there.
It's like Mad Max.
Yeah, and in this wasteland, there are maybe 100 people in this building, all young kids, all relatively hot, just bumping and grinding and getting their sex on.
And they're just like, where's Mario?
Super drunk.
And where's like our friends? And he's like, Mario's in the body pit, man.
Yeah, he's dead, man. They're like, he's in Ward B. And they're like, oh, well, what's in Ward B? They're like, that's where all the bodies are, man. And then he makes them drink in order to enter into the bar, and whatever they drank gives them crazy hallucinations, of course.
Yeah.
And what happens is he ends up like kissing this girl, but then he only sees Teresa, and he's like, I love Teresa, man. And this girl's like, whatever. And so he passes out and falls on the floor, and Alan Tudyk is laughing his ass off at him. And then it fades to black. Cut to another scene where like Teresa and them save him.
Yeah.
And then Jose, or whatever his name is beating the shit out of Alan Tudyk. And he's like, this is actually the guy we were looking for. He just played you all. And he's kicking the crap out of him. Yeah. And he's like, there's a pass in the mountains. If you go to the pass, that's where the rebels are. And he's like, good, we're stealing your car. So the dude has a car.
Of, like, the Joker or something when they're beating him up. And he's like,
yeah, he's the more bloody they make him, he's just laughing at him.
Yeah.
Because he's super drugged out. Yeah. So they steal his car, because, whatever. And they drive up into the mountains, and in the mountains they discover that there are people up there, and they're shooting at them, like they're snipers, and they're about to surrender. Or no, they're about to retreat, or try to retreat.
Yeah.
And snipers come up from behind them. And then, what do you know? It turns out it's the girls that used to be with Hoodie Guy.
Yeah, in the maze.
In the maze. And so they're like, oh my God, it's you, Hoodie Guy. And they give him like hugs. And by the way, whoever that blonde girl was, super hot. Super hot. Yeah. I'm going to say that she's over 18. I don't know. Super hot. Whoever that girl's, actually the black chick, also super hot.
Super hot.
He was put in a maze with gorgeous women who, for living in a post-apocalypse, came out pretty well.
Yeah, they did do pretty well for the
post-apocalypse. They are doing pretty well for themselves in the post-apocalypse. And so I guess they are part of this resistance. They take them up into the mountains, and in the mountains they meet the like resistance head man who's just this guy like, hey, what are you doing here? You're not allowed here.
He's got like a shaggy gray beard and stuff like,
yeah, I ain't gonna allow you kids here. We're gonna kill you. What are you doing here? And of course a doctor shows up, and she's like, Thomas, is that you? And he's like, do I know you? And she's like, you're the reason why all this started. Yeah. And apparently, the reason why Thomas was in the maze in the beginning is because he and Teresa used to work for Wicked. And they decided to, well, he did. He decided to betray them because of all the crazy shit that went down.
Yeah, like killing people in the maze and shit.
Yeah, setting up the mazes. And so he decided to betray them and set up this resistance, and it was his idea. Yeah. And so everyone's like, what? You're the dude? And now they're all friends.
Yeah.
Basically. Well, of course, then other girl falls over and is succumbing to her zombie sickness. And they're like, what? You brought a zombie here? And they're going to kill her, but the doctor's like, no, Thomas's blood can save her.
Yeah.
So they give her an injection, and literally they're like, it won't keep her alive forever, but it'll give her another 3 months. And I guess the assumption is if you can keep injecting her, she can stay alive forever. Well, again, that brings up a huge problem with like, why are they just taking, if the kids want to help, why won't you let them help? Why are you just trying to take their essence or whatever?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, after that, Jose or whatever his name is like, hey, I'm gonna take this girl and we're gonna leave and like go off on an adventure or some shit.
Yeah.
Which again makes no sense because he needs the
like-
blood. Then
It reminded
anyway,
me of
everyone's
like remember in the Insurgent where that her like brother or the guy was they're out in the apocalypse or whatever. And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go now," and they're just like, "All right, bye." It leaves.
Yes, it makes no
like
sense.
that.
Like, wait, why? Why are you
Why
leaving?
Yeah.
So they're gonna just like go
Yeah.
and whatever. Anyway, everyone's happy. Everything's good. The world is wonderful. And then it turns out that actually we might have gotten that wrong.
What?
So I don't know if it's either they were gonna leave or the group was gonna leave and they were gonna stay behind.
Oh. Yeah,
It's
maybe
one
it
of
was
the
the
two.
group.
It was one of the
that's gonna
two.
leave.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter because what happens then is Teresa is like up on a cliff by herself, staring longingly into the distance,
Yeah.
and everyone's happy. Like Hoodie Kid is flirting with two girls. It's all great.
Yeah.
Thomas goes to talk to Teresa, and she's like, "Thomas, I remember everything. I remember when my mom got the disease and like she gouged out her own eyes because she was going crazy, and I just want to help people. So, P.S. I called Wicked."
Yeah.
Right then, like a million D helicopters show up.
Yeah.
And
like,
they're
at
like,
that moment.
no! And they start launching rockets at the camp, and everyone's just getting murderfied. And the main camp guy with his beard gets this giant machine gun, and before he can even get started, they, like, knock out him and all the kids. And Thomas is, like, hiding, but he's hiding with Gus and short-haired girl. And he's like, "Get out of here. This isn't your fight. They just want me." And they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Get out of here." And he's like, "I'll never forget you, hermano." And they leave. And Thomas goes out, but he has the C4 from earlier in the movie, which we forgot to tell you about.
Yeah.
He has C4, and he's basically going to blow himself up. So he goes down, meets with all the people, and gets captured. They don't check him for C4, apparently.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Of course not.
And that's when the giant helicopter lands, and it's the doctor, and she's like, Thomas, you son of a bitch. And so they're going to kill all the non-essential people and then take all the kids back. And she's like, Thomas, you have to understand, I'm doing this for your own good. And he's like, "You're killing those kids, man."
And then
Teresa's like, "No, Thomas, they're going to spare us."
Littlefinger like comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, Thomas." He was like uppercuts him in the gut.
Yeah, so Thomas is just like, "No, bro, no, I'd rather die." And then like all of his friends gather around him and like, "Yeah, we'd rather die." They're gonna blow them all up.
Yeah.
And right as they're about to do it, it's like essentially like and Gus and the girl in this Gus in the truck by himself, like this giant truck out of nowhere drives through like a helicopter and like just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And then the girl is up on a hill with like a sniper rifle just like picking people off.
Yeah.
And Teresa and blonde girl, for some reason, decide to go back with them.
Yeah.
Like, they all get in this helicopter. Blonde girl just gave up. She's like, "Yeah, no, I'm totally in. Blonde girl, you broke my heart. I loved you. I loved you, blonde girl." And they decide to go back with them. And they get, like, in this thing, and everyone else is fighting, like, and Miho gets zapped with, like, the electric stun gun.
Yeah.
And they take him back, and they're like, "No, Miho!" And it's all emotional and stuff.
Yeah.
And they manage to fly away, and the resistance basically is like kind of defeated. It's very Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And at the end, with Mio gone and betrayed by Teresa, Tom gives like this big speech of like, "We gotta fight back. I'm tired of running. I've been running my entire life." And crazy bearded guy is like, "Yeah, I'm in." And then the kids are like, "Yeah, we're in too." And like hoodie dude and like sexy black chick, they're like, "Yeah, we're in." And then he's like, "I've got an idea," and then just cuts to black.
Yeah.
He's like, "I know how we're gonna beat them."
They're
Cuts
like,
to black.
"Nice, dude."
Yeah, and that's it. That's how the movie ends. And it's like, see you in the third one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's even happening in this series anymore.
I don't either. It's like Divergent, but better and crazier.
Yes, it is it's a more tolerable version of Divergent. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Although, with that said, Divergent is freaking bonkers.
Yes.
Also, my apologies to people who I said was only take 15 minutes. Took much longer to talk about.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
can't
what's
even
the-
it's so ridiculous.
I don't even
It's
remember.
such an
like,
over-the-top movie that I can't even describe it. It's so silly.
Yeah. And now, like, I don't even know what's going to happen in the third one.
You
Like,
know
they're
what's going to happen?
No, I don't know.
Oh, neither do I. I haven't even looked up. I would say that I went and looked up what happens in Divergent because I didn't know if I wanted to sit through more movies of it after the first one.
Yeah.
But I do not know. I do not know what happens in Maze Runner, and I'm okay with that because after the first one was so silly and weird, the second one was so over the top and crazy. I can only imagine what the third one will be.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna go fight like an organization that has monsters and crazy shit.
I know.
And Teresa has to become a good guy, right? Unless she gets eaten by a monster, which I'm okay with because she betrayed everyone.
Yeah. Oh my god, if she gets killed by a monster, that'd be crazy.
I like how, but it's a different monster. They're like out in the Scorch. There's other monsters. All right, I need to go look this up.
Yeah, we gotta look this up.
Hold on. Maze Runner series. How many books are in this? Oh my god, are you kidding me?
What?
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 There are 5 books in this series.
What? No, that's like no. Maze Runner. Wait, okay. Wait, the Fever Code.
Here's the thing. Fever Code isn't out yet, I don't think.
The Fever Code isn't out yet.
26. Oh my god, look at this. All right. So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas is the main character of book 1 through 3 and makes a minor appearance in book 4. Mio is 1 through 3. Newt, Gally, 1 through so all these different things, right?
Yeah.
Jansen, aka Ratman, is books 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Jorge was his name, not Jose.
Oh, Jorge. That's what it was.
Sonia. So all right. So anyway, book 4 has a bunch of characters. Book 4 is called The Kill Order. It has Mark, Alec, Trina, and Lana.
What?
And another character that I don't want to spoil for people who are interested. And then it's like book 5 are the old characters again.
The Kill Order is the prequel. Before Wicked was formed, before the Glade was built, before Thomas entered the maze, sunflares hit the earth, and mankind fell to disease. That's the Kill Order. So the third book is the end of it, but then the Kill Order is what happened before everything.
And then the 5th book might be like, all right, I need to look this up. All right, main article. So the next movie is called The Death Cure. And here's the thing. It's in an icy world.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cover.
Maybe it's super in the mountains then. The 5th installment. Getting us to write a prequel. Oh, and then there's the Fever Code is another prequel, but that's about Thomas and Teresa and all them.
What?
So it's like the second prequel.
What?
Yeah. And then the Death Cure is the final one. What the shit?
What the hell? All right, all I know is this is all I read of the next book. Mind control chips.
What? Oh my god.
I'm not going to read anymore. I don't want to read anymore. Mind control chips, Crendor. Mind control chips.
That's all I need to know. I'm ready.
That's all I need to know. I'm so excited. Once I saw the next book, so they went from a glade to a Scorch to like the mountains, like an icy mountain fortress, and now they're mind control chips. That's all I need to know.
Yep.
I'm in. I'm in.
Ready. I'm ready. Oh my god.
That is too damn funny. Oh my god. All right. Well, I don't even know what to say now.
Man.
Do we just end it there? That was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was a while.
That was a long time.
Hold on, we can speed do it. I'll just speed do everything.
Okay. Let's go to chapter. Go see the Crendor.
Oh, wow, we got Spencer Langley down there driving a car. Nice car, Spencer.
All right, let's go to Sports Desk with Crendor. Crendor, how's that sports?
They usually do the weather first, but that's okay. Sports Desk, we had some crazy NFL action today. Also, at MLB, there's the Cubs made the playoffs for the first time in like 8 years. They're going to play the Pittsburgh Pirates probably in the first wild card. This will be crazy. NFL, Seahawks blew out the Bears. Buffalo actually won again, beat Miami. Crazy stuff going down.
All right, and weather.
Weather, Whoppy activate. Whoppy activated 54154, Oconto Falls, Wisconsin. 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Monday, PM thunderstorms.
Okay, and do we have a big news story, or was the big news story the awesomeness that is Maze Runner?
I'm just going to read some titles. We don't have to go into these. Missing Dennis the Menace statue returned after 11 years. Donald Trump previews his tax plan. Many taxpayers will pay $0. And man tries to kill spider with lighter, starts gas station ablaze.
Oh my God, I have an amazing story about a spider. All right. So
All right.
a woman was backing out of her driveway in her car, and a spider crawled up on her shoulder, and she freaked out so badly that she jumped out of the car, a moving car, rolled on the ground, forgot that her 9-year-old kid was in the back seat.
What?
The car rolls down the driveway. The kid jumps to the front seat, tries to stop the car, but puts his foot on the accelerator, drives backwards into traffic, hits a school bus.
What?
Nobody's hurt. Remarkably, nobody's hurt.
What? That shit cray.
Just because she got scared of a spider and freaked out and jumped out of her car.
That's insane.
She was so scared of a spider, she left her 9-year-old in a moving vehicle.
Like, how do you even, like, fathom that? Like, spider!
I don't know. I heard it on the news yesterday, and I was like, what the hell? All right, well, that's it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back with another episode soon. And as always, to be continued.